The last two that we're going to be using today are the angle side angle and angle angle side. So similar concepts as the first two, but we're just going to be using more angles instead of sides. In angle side angle, the key here is that the side is between the two angles that are congruent. Okay, so that's very important. So if I'm given two triangles here, I'm going to mark one angle the same as another. Then maybe I have another pair of angles here marked with two arcs. The side that has to be congruent has to be between the two angles. So this side would have to be congruent to this side in order to use angle side angle. Okay. The cases where it would not work would be if I had something like this. So here's one triangle, here's another. If I marked an angle and an angle here, and then I marked a side here and here. Notice that the side locations, even though they're marked the same, are not in the same location in the picture. So this would not be congruent because this is not following the correct order of angle, side, angle in both. Okay, so if you have any questions about the differences between those, make sure you let me know. And then our last one, angle, angle, side. This is not between the angles. Okay, so here we have an angle and we have a side. We're missing the other angle. Anytime you have vertical angles, you can always mark those on your own. So that's really important to know that vertical angles are always congruent, so we can just mark them right away. So now this fits angle, angle, side. And notice the location of our side that's marked is not between the angles. So it's on the outside of both, so we'd be good to go. Okay, and you always want to make sure that the markings are in the correct order in both triangles, not just one. So let's use these to write a two-column proof, and then we'll pretty much be done for this section. So here it says that angle X is congruent to angle I, and you want to show that, and then they tell you XJ segment is parallel to IH's, and they want to prove that the two triangles here are congruent. So again, mark what you know, identify, are we going to use side, 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 angle, side, angle, 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 side, or side, angle, side. So of the four, you have to determine which one you're going to use and then fill in your two-column proof. So we know angle X and I are the same. We'll mark those in red. So we know we're going to be using an angle, which means we can eliminate side, side, side. Okay. Then we know that XJ and IH are parallel. Well, if two sides are parallel, that means we have alternate interior angles. So that means I can mark that this angle is the same and this angle is the same. So think of our alternate interior angles that we talked about in the last unit. Okay, so we know we're going to be using two angles, so we can eliminate side, angle, side. Okay, and then this one is kind of nice. They share a side here, which means we can mark that this side is the same. So we're going to be using angle, angle, side, or angle, angle, side. So it's very important identifying which order it goes in, figuring out which method you're going to use, and now we can go ahead and create our two-column proof. So let's fill in what we know. We've got our given to us. Angle X is congruent to angle I, and XJ is parallel to IH. Now we need to go ahead and talk about the things that were not given to us that we know are true. So we know that this side here is the same in both. So we can say that segment JH is congruent to segment JH, and the reason for that is the reflexive property. And that goes back to our two-column proofs we talked about at the beginning. Okay, in step 3, we said that these two angles here and here were congruent. So we could say angle XJH is congruent to angle IHJ. And that is because they are alternate interior angles. Okay, so now we've talked about an angle and another angle and a side. So that means that we have enough information to show that our two triangles are congruent. So our last step would be to say triangle JHI is congruent to triangle HJX, and the reason is because of angle, angle, side. Okay. So mark your picture, identify which one you're going to be using, and then fill in your steps into your proof. Remember, you have to say each pair of items is congruent. either 2 angles on a side or all 3 sides, whatever it is you're going to use, and then you can prove the triangles are the same at the end. Okay, if you have any questions about those 2 column proofs, please let me know. Hopefully those are some pretty good examples to base off of when you do your practice problems. The one thing I'm going to end with today is that you cannot use side-side angle or angle-angle-angle to prove that triangles are congruent. And the reason for that is I can have triangles that have all equal angles but are different sizes. So for example, these 2 triangles, maybe each degree is 60. It's an equilateral triangle or equiangular, but notice that the side lengths are not the same. So this is the reason why angle-angle-angle does not work. Same rule applies for side-side angle. Also, just because I have to say it, never write the side-side angle the other way on your assignments. That's something you would definitely get in trouble for if you were turning those things in. The only exception for the side-side angle would be with right triangles, but instead of calling it side-side angle, we just call it hypotenuse leg. But we're not going to focus on that one. Just know that that is a possibility only in right triangles. So that's kind of the exception to the rule, but for us, we're going to be focused on the 4 side, 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 angle, side, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. So if you have any questions, let me know, and you should be good to go ahead and start your practice problems.